ISKCON founder Acharya Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrind ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जाय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन धाम की जाय। ब्रजभूमि वृंदावन धाम की जाय। मायापुर नवि धाम की जाय। गंगा माई की जाय। यमुना माई की जाय। तुलसी देवी की जाय। भक्ति देवी की जाय। Samaveda Gaur Bhakta Vrind ki jai. All glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Gaur Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Thank you all for joining for our daily Srimad Bhagavatam study here at ISKCON of Philadelphia. Today we are reading, studying and discussing from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 16, text number 10. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Okay, I'll recite the shloka 3 times and then anybody who's interested can recite as well. Suta uvacha yada parikshit kurujangale vasat kalim pravishtam nija chakravartithe nishamya vartam anatipriyam tatha sarasanam samyuga saundhiradade. Suta uvacha yada parikshit kurujangale vasat kalim pravishtam nija chakravartithe nishamya vartam anatipriyam tatha sarasanam samyuga saundhiradade. Suta uvacha yada parikshit kurujangale vasat kalim pravishtam nija chakravartite nishamya vartham anatipriyam tatha sarasanam samyuga saundhiradade. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Suta uvacha yada parikshit kurujangale vasat kalim pravishtam nija chakravartite nishamya vartam anati priyam tatah sarasanam samyuga shandir adade.
Sutta Uvacha Yada Parikshit Kurujangale Vasat Kalim Pravishtam Nija Chakravartite Nishamya Vartam Anatipriyam Tatha Sarasanam Samyuga Saundiradate. Hare Krishna.
Anyone else?
Sutta uvacha yada parikshit kurujangale vasat kalim pravishtam nija chakravartite nishamya vartam anatipriyam tatha sharasanam samyuga saundiradate.
Hare Krishna. Yada parikshit kurujangale vasat kalim pravishtam nija chakravartite nishamya vartam anatipriyam tatha sharashanam samyuga shandir adade.
Hare Krishna. यदा परीक्षित गुरुजङ्गले वसत् कलिं प्रविष्टं निजचक्रवर्तिते निशम्यवर्तं मनतिप्रियं तथा सरासनं संयुगासोदीर्घदादे.
Hare Krishna. Yada parikshit kurujangale vasat kalim pravishtam nija chakravartite nishanavartam manati priyam tata sarashanam sayyugasham iravate. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Suta uvacha yada parikshit kuru jangale avasat kalim pravishtam nij chakravartite nishamya vatam anati priyam tataha sarasanam sarasanam samyuga shandira adade. Hare
Hare Krishna. Anyone else? Thank you so much. So we'll read the synonyms. Suta Uvacha. Suta Goswami said, Yada, when Parikshit, Maharaja Parikshit, Kuru Jangale, in the capital of Kuru's empire, Avasat, was residing, Kalim, the symptoms of the age of Kali, Pravishtam, entered, Nija Chakravartite, within his jurisdiction, Nishamya, thus hearing, Vartam, news, Anatip Priyam, not very palatable, Tatha, thereafter, Sharashanam, arrows and bow, Samyuga, having gotten a chance for Saundihi, martial activities, Adade, took up. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Suta Goswami said, while Maharaj Parikshit was residing in the capital of the Kuru Empire, the symptoms of the age of Kali began to infiltrate within the jurisdiction of his state. When he learned about this, he did not think the matter very palatable. This did, however, give him a chance to fight. He took up his bow and arrows and prepared himself for military activities. Purport. The state administration of Maharaj Parikshit was so perfect that he was sitting in his capital peacefully. But he got the news that the symptoms of the age of Kali had already infiltrated into the jurisdiction of his state, and he did not like this news. What are the symptoms of the age of Kali? They are illicit connection with women, indulgence in meat eating, intoxication, taking pleasure in gambling. The age of Kali literally means the age of quarrel, and the above mentioned 4 symptoms in human society are the root causes for all kinds of quarrel. Maharaj Parikshit heard that some of the people of the state had already taken to those symptoms, and he wanted to take immediate steps against such causes of unrest. This means that at least up to the regime of Maharaj Parikshit, such symptoms of public life were practically unknown, and as soon as they were slightly detected, he wanted to root them out. The news was not palatable for him, but in a way it was, because Maharaj Parikshit got a chance to fight. There was no need to fight with small states because everyone was peacefully under his subordination. But the Kali Yuga miscreants gave his fighting spirit a chance for exhibition. A perfect Kshatriya king is always jubilant as soon as he gets a chance to fight, just as a sportsman is eager when there is a chance for a sporting match. It is no argument that in the age of Kali, such symptoms are predestined. If so, then why was there preparation for fighting out such symptoms? Such arguments are offered by lazy and unfortunate men. In the rainy season, rain is predestined, and yet people take precautions to protect themselves. Similarly, in the age of Kali, the symptoms as above mentioned are sure to infiltrate into social life, but it is the duty of the state to save the citizens from the association of the agents of the age of Kali. Maharaj Parikshit wanted to punish the miscreants indulging in the symptoms of Kali and thus save the innocent citizens who were pure in habit by culture of religion. It is the duty of the king to give such protection, and Maharaj Parikshit was perfectly right when he prepared himself to fight. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Thank you all for giving me this opportunity to speak from Srimad Bhagavatam. This is primarily for my own purification, and I hope I can repeat few words which are pleasing to the Vaishnavas on this call. So this is a very beautiful verse, Prabhupada. I'll just read the translation again. Yeah. He then, Suta Goswami said, while Maharaj Parikshit was residing in the capital of the Kuru Empire, the symptoms of the age of Kali began to infiltrate within the jurisdiction of his state. When he learned about this, he did not think the matter very palatable. This did, however, give him a chance to fight. He took up his bow and arrows and prepared himself for military activities. Yeah, very beautiful verse. A lot we can learn from the qualities of Parikshit Maharaj, and also Prabhupada gives a very beautiful purport and discusses so many important points that can be applied in our daily life. So, Yada Parikshit Kuru Jangale Vasat. So this Parikshit Maharaj, he was an ideal king, a monarch, and Kuru Jangale Vasat means he was residing peacefully. Where? In the capital of the Kuru Jangale. And what was the capital? Anybody remembers?
Hastinapur?
Yes, Hastinapur, which is now what is called as Delhi. Right, yes. And Prabhupada explains why was he able to peacefully reside in the purport first line. Prabhupada writes, he resided peacefully in the capital because he was, obviously we all know he was a pure devotee of the Lord. He was empowered. Also, he was a very powerful king, and no one could rise against him. And the citizens were very happy. Prabhupada writes in the purport, they were pure. So he ruled properly, and nobody had that power to rise against him. And Nishamya Vartam Anati Priyam. But Vartam means he got the news. Anati Priyam, but it was not very palatable news that he got. Not that some enemies from some other state or kingdom were attacking, but Kali was attacking. So Kalim Pravishtam Nija Chakravartithe. So Kali, and where did Kali enter? His own jurisdiction. Kalim Pravishtam Nija Chakravartithe. Prabhupada explains Chakravartithe. Chakra means Anybody knows what is chakra? Sanskrit word chakra means what? Circle. Yeah, like a circle. So, and Nija Chakra Vartite, and the king is like the center. Yeah, a kingdom is compared to a circle, and king is the center. Chakra Vartite. So Parikshit Maharaj was in the center. Head of any kingdom is in the center. So he is the center. But as soon as he heard this news, what Kalim Pravishtam, that Kali has entered, he was not like these today's leaders who are sitting in their home and sending all the soldiers onto the war battlefield or to fight or trouble. No, he picked up his bow and arrows and he ran to punish, to fight. So this is a very important point. Prabhupada explains also in the purport that, somebody with a fighting spirit, for example, here for Kshatriya, Kshatriya nature is to fight, right? And Parikshit Maharaj was not getting an opportunity to fight because he was very powerful. Not that he was eager to fight or something, this was but there was no enemy with whom to fight. But he got this news that Kali has entered, so he got a chance to fight. Like Prabhupada gives the example of sportsmen, right? You see many times, if you're really want to play something, or you're good at it, or you really have this strong desire, then you are looking for an opponent to fight. In his lecture, Prabhupada gives the example of, albeit in a little slightly different context, but Bhaumasur. This Bhaumasur, by the grace of Lord Shiva, he got a benediction. He got 1,000 hands, and he wanted to fight. He wanted to fight. But he was so powerful that nobody dared to fight with him. So he complained. Since there was nobody coming forward to fight with him, what he did? He was practicing to fight with mountains and hills and cracking them up. So, and then he went to Lord Shiva to complain. What is this? You gave me all this power, but there is nobody. I don't have any worthy opponent to fight. Immediately Lord Shiva understood this is a demon. So one day you'll find some enemy when your desire will be fulfilled for good, and Krishna appears, right, and then kills him. So the point was a natural desire to fight. And Prabhupada also talks a lot about Parikshit Maharaj's qualities as a king. Of course, he also discusses about the Kali Yuga and the qualities of Kali Yuga, the 4 pillars of Kali Yuga. But before that, I thought it is a good opportunity here to little bit talk about Parikshit Maharaj's qualities as a king. What were some of the wonderful qualities that made him a great king, and also made his citizens so pure, who were following all religious practices. Yeah. And he sets a great example through this verse. From this verse, we can learn how a king should be. Also, he sets a great example, how an ideal leader should be in this society. So in the chapter 9, is that, if I may be wrong in that chapter number, but the passing away of Bhishma Dev in the presence of Krishna, I think that is chapter 9. In the end of that chapter, in the last verses, when Bhishma Dev is talking to, anybody remembers to whom? Yes?
Is it
Yudhishthira.
Yes,
Maharaj.
yes, Yudhishthira Maharaj. So Prabhupada writes some really beautiful purports, a couple of purports. Of course, he talks about Varnashrama Dharma. Bhishma Dev is explaining to Yudhishthira Maharaj, how to rule, how should an ideal king be. He was talking, and you will see some of those nice, wonderful things that Prabhupada mentions is exactly what Parikshit Maharaj is displaying in his qualities. So I'll briefly point out some of those which Bhishma Dev mentions, and Prabhupada gives reference to Manu Samhita, yeah, that the qualities of a Kshatriya. Yeah. So he says the administrators should never pretend to become non-violent and thereby go to hell. Remember here, Parikshit Maharaj was peaceful. It's not like he's a devotee, so he should sit at home and do nothing and just sit and chant. No. Yeah. So Prabhupada writes, the administrators should never pretend to become non-violent and thereby go to hell. When Arjuna wanted to become a non-violent coward on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, he was severely chastised by Lord Krishna. The Lord degraded Arjuna at that time to the status of an uncivilized man for his avowed acceptance of the cult of non-violence. The administrative class must be personally trained in military education. Cowards should not be elevated to the presidential throne by dint of numerical votes only. The monarchs were all chivalrous personalities, and therefore monarchy should be maintained provided the monarch is regularly trained in the occupational duties of a king. This is very relevant to this verse, yeah, and of course in general very practical. So further Prabhupada writes in that purport, I think it was 27 or 28 in that passing away of Bhishma Dev chapter, the text: in fighting, the king or the president should never return home without being hurt by the enemy. The so-called king of today never visits the war field. He is very much expert in artificially encouraging the fighting strength in the hope of false national prestige. As soon as the administrative class is turned into a gang of mercantile and laborer men, the whole machinery of government becomes polluted. Yeah, I felt was very beautiful purport that Prabhupada gave there and very relevant here. He gives the example of Arjuna, So when Kali is invading here, Parikshit Maharaj was not sitting idle, and he himself personally, took his bow and arrows and set out to kill the miscreants. Just like Krishna, instructed Arjuna when he didn't want to fight. Yeah. In the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Then further in another of those verses, Prabhupada writes, Raja Dharma, the duties of the king, is a great science, unlike modern diplomacy for political supremacy. I'll read, Raja Dharma is a great science, unlike modern diplomacy for political supremacy. The kings were trained systematically to become munificent and not merely tax collectors. And the other point is they were trained to perform different sacrifices only for the prosperity of the subjects. To lead the prajas to the attainment of salvation was a great duty of the king. The father, the spiritual master, and the king are not to become irresponsible in the matter of leading their subjects to the path of ultimate liberation from birth, disease, and old age. When these primary duties are properly discharged, there is no need of government of the people by the people. Yeah. So the point also Prabhupada goes on to explain that how if the administration is not proper and if it is manipulated by votes and they are not properly trained in the primary duties of a king or a leader, then how it creates havoc to the citizens. Why this is important is, if you all have heard in today's purport, Prabhupada writes, which I'll discuss later, he says that I had read that about purity of the people, of the citizens. I just read that. Yes. But it's the duty to save the Maharaj Parikshit. Yes, I'll read this again. In today's purport, Prabhupada writes, Maharaj Parikshit wanted to punish the miscreants indulging in the symptoms of Kali and thus save the innocent citizens who were pure in habit by culture of religion. So you can see how the citizens were pure by their habits of religion. They were all following. Yeah, and it is the duty of the king to make sure that they remain pure and they make advancement in their devotional service while they are in their respective dharmas, yeah, in their varnas. So Prabhupada explains, that a typical king is the ideal of the people in general. And if the king is pious, religious, chivalrous, and munificent, the citizens generally follow him. The pious kings were not merciful to dacoits and thieves in the name of nonsensical ahimsa, non-violence. The thieves and dacoits were punished in an exemplary way so that in the future no one would dare commit such nuisances in an organized form. So, and then about taxes, so many things Prabhupada mentions in those purports, and how it is the duty of the king to utilize the citizens properly, not to fulfill their animal propensities, but for self-realization, and how a king should be selected. Prabhupada, I don't want to spend too much time on that, but just the point is that all these qualities you can see in Parikshit. The citizens were pure. This is the greatness of the king. Yata Raja Tata Praja Yad Yada Acharati Shrestha. So citizens were occupied in their occupational duties and they were sincerely practicing devotional service. They are following religion. And how is the king? King is peaceful and alert. Peaceful and alert. Peaceful doesn't mean lazy. Peace. You see a problem, he stood up, took a decision to fight, like we see here, yeah, Parikshit Maharaj. And then the other important point is he was guided by Sadhu and Brahmana. Yeah, we read in the previous verses. So this, you can see the Shastras through all this is not teaching or promoting selfishness. The king should keep all his personal needs aside and make citizens the priority. Even in one of the purports, Prabhupada explains keeping his own bodily needs aside. That's how Yudhishthira Maharaj and Parikshit were. And the whole point is, through Parikshit Maharaj and through these words, we can learn it's not just a post. It is a serious responsibility to make sure that the citizens are nicely making progress in devotional service. Yeah. The king is necessary. Otherwise, people, because now people are sinful. So we need a king. We need a king, but the king's primary duty is spiritual. Highest importance has to be given to God. Everything rests on that. We see, yeah. And then his leadership should be balanced. You can see, sometimes we are either too mild, you see, or too strict. Too mild, then we are taken for granted. Nobody pays attention, nobody gives importance. Too strict, then people might for a few days, few weeks, few months follow, but then they don't want to anymore. Yeah. So you need to strike the right balance. Too soft doesn't work, too strict doesn't work. Yeah. So balance. And he's compassionate. We see all these qualities in Parikshit Maharaj. He was very compassionate, but strong. So compassion, it is explained, must be part of our mental makeup. From inside, one should be compassionate, but that doesn't mean, you're forgiving everything, it's okay. And king should be alert, as we can see here. And and there is mutual dependence between the king and the citizens. So taking their opinions into consideration. So because king is a representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, like we see. Otherwise, we all know the example is also given about King Vena, how he got blinded and stopped so many religious activities, and that's detrimental. So King Parikshit was very competent king. He had conquered, yeah, and he was a very responsible king, yeah. So the other point Prabhupada writes, which I mentioned earlier, was the innocent citizens who were pure in habit by culture of religion. So how can we be pure? What does purity mean? Anyone?
Following the instructions,
Yes, yes,
chanting.
yes, yes. But yes,
And the purifier means mind is pure, it does not no greed, no jealousy, and no much desire, contamination free, all the material contamination.
yes, yes, yes. Nice. Anyone else?
Our true ego.
What about that?
I mean, true ego is not false ego. So, false ego is like, I'm not this body. I'm the soul.
Yes, yes. So purity here we can understand means that they had sense control, right? They were not engaging carelessly in sense gratification. So purity means that even if there is an opportunity to gratify senses, we don't always do. Yeah. So that is Vedic culture. We first consider when there is if there is a situation, is this right? Is this dharmic? And on the basis of that, we will decide to do or not. So I thought this was a very important point. Pure means restraining ourselves, means not engaging excessively in sense gratification. And we can also see Parikshit Maharaj in many cases was very introspective, right? When he put a dead snake on the neck of Saumik Rishi, whom did he blame? Anybody remembers?
He blamed himself.
Yes, he blamed himself. He was not looking to blame somebody else. Oh, I made a mistake. And he was very detached. He was very detached, not like he never wanted to give up the position. We all know that as soon as he was cursed, he gave up everything and went to hear Srimad Bhagavatam from Sukadev Goswami. He had 4 sons, Janmejaya, one of them. He handed it over and he left just like that without thinking much. He was so detached. So much we can learn from Parikshit Maharaj's, practical examples. And then the other important point Prabhupada talks in today's verse is about the 4 symptoms of the age of Kali Yuga. Illicit connection with women, indulgence in meat eating, intoxication, and gambling. This I know we all have heard this so many times, but as we can see, in this regard, Prabhupada gives some nice explanation and examples. And I also wanted to share some of my personal experience that, as far as illicit relationships with women, illicit sex. So Prabhupada says that, from the age of 5, the child has to be taught to address every woman as mother. From the age of 5. This way, when he grows up, every woman he sees, he's so used to, from very beginning, calling her as mother. Yeah, this was the culture. Prabhupada says this was the culture. This is very important point, that this was the practice, and not only just a religious practice, but also morally, this is the right thing to do, to call all women or to address all women as mother. And even Chanakya Pandit, who was a great politician and a moralist, even he says, who is a learned scholar? He himself was a great learned scholar, but he answers this question: one who sees all women other than his wife as a mother, except one's wife, all others' wife as mother to treat. Yeah, and not only that, what else he says? And also others' property as garbage in the street. Is anybody interested in the garbage on the street? No. Similarly, one is not interested in any other's property and one cannot touch it. Yeah, Prabhupada explains this. So I thought was a very practical example that I can also personally train, myself, remember, and teach my children, to address all we try to do. Yeah, but to remember this, not even Benji, Prabhupada says, that is not our Vedic culture, it's only mother. Yeah. And then also Prabhupada explains that about drinking alcohol and about meat eating, that earlier it was not so open. Of course, we just read Parikshit Maharaj's time was very few, just had started infiltrating. Now we see everywhere. But Prabhupada also explains that where they would go to the outskirts of the village or that town, and then very rarely in an isolated place consume meat or drink alcohol. But nowadays we see so open. I was in India for a few months last year, and I returned early in January. About beef exporting. Anybody knows which is the top country in this world in terms of beef export?
I
India.
believe it's the US.
India.
So it is Brazil, when I last saw, and it is 19.6% of the world's beef export. And sadly, India is right up there next. Can you believe this? No. So, and alcohol, I was born and raised in a city called Hyderabad in India, which is now part of a state called Telangana. And there is an adjacent state, which is Andhra Pradesh. These were two states combined, are now split. And I was reading, when I was in India, on January 1st, this is just, I think, on the 31st or the 1st of January, just on that day alone, in India, $25 million of money of revenue was generated from selling alcohol in that state alone in one day. Can you imagine? That's a lot of money. Yeah, it's 100 crores in Indian rupees. So this is how Kali is deteriorating so bad. Everywhere, and I was seeing, and so much, and so many leaders are there. Every leader, some or the other, has either been part of killing the previous leader, whether it was his own father or brother. His own father or brother engaged in killing. And most of the leaders have become the presidents that way now. That's how they have become. And they are promoting their election manifesto is what, ban alcohol. That is the manifesto but then as soon as they come to power, then they are selling new brands of alcohol. This is the sad state. So much alcohol, and this is the government. And the government knows. And Prabhupada explains this, that once he starts drinking, he becomes a drunkard, then he'll drink at any cost. So people are mad at the influence of this material nature, and government is encouraging that. You become more and more mad. And they are promoting this as their welfare activities. But Parikshit Maharaj was not that kind of government. It is the duty of the king to see that the citizens are properly raised. And properly raised to the spiritual platform. And this is the duty of the government. Yeah. Then, because if such a leader is not there, there is no restriction in eating, there is no restriction in drinking, there is no restriction in anything. That's why illicit relationships, unlimited eating, unlimited killing. So once Prabhupada explains, and Prabhupada says this, oh, if a Swami comes and he says, yes, it's okay, you can eat, there is no restriction on eating, drinking, then he's a nice Swamiji. If not, he's very conservative Swami. So, and Prabhupada gives this reference in regards to Allen Ginsberg, because Allen Ginsberg once told Prabhupada, you're very conservative, because Prabhupada was very restrictive, right, in this. But, Prabhupada explains, people don't know what benefit you derive when you are conservative. Yeah, otherwise we are all tossed by the waves of Maya. Yeah, so with this, I also wanted to spend a few minutes on how we can, what we can learn from our acharyas, from the pure devotees, and how we can apply some of these principles in our daily life. Like in devotional life also, we all are swimming. We are swimming against Maya. Yeah, if you're on the side of the enemy, there is no problem. But when you are against the enemy, it is very different, right? And Prabhupada would say that as soon as you become a devotee, you have declared war against whom?
Maya.
Maya, yes. Maya, yes. So, and in one of his lectures, Prabhupada says, to be happy, you have to lead a pure life, follow the 4 regulative principles, because just the very nature of sense gratification makes one morose. And the nature of one who follows pure life, immediately he becomes happy. So just like Kali was starting to attack, so many directions Kali is also attacking us every day. Yeah. So one can try to be introspective of where I am, where I am going, and live a life purely based on the blessings and the mercy of Guru and Vaishnavas. Yeah. And have these loving exchanges, 6 loving exchanges that we read about, the Dati Guyam, all these 6 exchanging gifts, honoring prasadam with devotees. So we can be careful in our lives. And you can see, just like, like Parikshit Maharaj, yeah, even our great acharyas, like even Srila Prabhupada, he fought, he came to deliver us all from Kali. So the great acharya doesn't mean just preaching and teaching. They're also constantly pushing back the influence of Kali, of material influence. We can see Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya. Of course, Shankaracharya, nevertheless, it was not auspicious, the Mayavad, but he fought against Buddhism. Yeah. Then it was Ramanujacharya who fought against impersonalism, then Madhvacharya. So they were all constantly, you see, they were all philosophical debates at that time, and they would defeat, and whoever was defeated would become their disciple. Yeah, so they were constantly fighting. And so once Srila Prabhupada was asked, about this demonic civilization. He said these demons are very powerful and are in charge. They are in charge, they are in the leadership positions, and what are we? Very few. And this was in the very beginning, bunch of hippies. And Prabhupada said, one little kick and all the demons will set straight. Yeah. So the point is, yes, Kali is very powerful, but Krishna is more powerful. Krishna is more powerful. Kali Yuga will be there. Even Parikshit Maharaj saw this. Yeah. And Prabhupada explains another important point, that even Srila Prabhupada, Parikshit Maharaj as a Kshatriya liked to fight. As an Acharya, as I said, Srila Prabhupada liked to fight, of course, differently. And he took pleasure. He took pleasure spreading this Sankirtan movement. Once Giriraj Maharaj asked Srila Prabhupada, it seems like you take special pleasure in smashing demons. Giriraj Maharaj asked Prabhupada. And what Srila Prabhupada's answer was, yes, it's my special sport. Just like some people enjoy tennis, other sport, fighting spirit. So I enjoy fighting these demons. And Prabhupada wanted his disciples and wanted the devotees to be Brahmanas, but with Kshatriya spirit, like the spirit that Parikshit Maharaj is displaying here, which means intelligent but thoughtful. Yeah, not just material intelligence, because material intelligence is very dangerous for human society. Intelligence but thoughtful. Yeah. So one must we read and become learned in Shastras, be very pure inside, clean, but have the spirit of a Kshatriya. Otherwise, we see sometimes just having Brahmana quality is not good. I may say, see anything and everything and say it's okay. I just sit in one corner. My wife used to tell me when we first got married, I was born and raised in a Madhva Sampradaya family. So my parents were extremely conservative, and there was no concept of eating out. There was no concept of any cake cutting. It was a very conservative, family. So she used to tell me, this, I don't know if Sanskrit is the right word, laukyam, she said, you have got all this material education, but you like they've taught you all this, but to be soft and this, but they haven't taught you how to, to be very, what do you call, street smart. So Prabhupada says you have to be a Brahmana with fighting spirit, Kshatriya spirit. So this is very important. Yeah. Otherwise, sometimes we think, what can we do? What can we do? So yes, Prabhupada has told us, yes, we are very insignificant. I'm very fallen soul. This is the age of Kali. Yes, but Prabhupada has said, read my books, study my books, chant the holy name, follow the 4 regulative principles, and distribute these books to others, and distribute the prasadam to others, conduct Harinam Sankirtan. This is how we all can play a very, very insignificant role in pushing back the age of Kali. Yeah, we can try to distribute. Pray to Krishna, pray to Guru, that some person will take, because Krishna is present as Paramatma in everybody's heart. Yeah, so the person we approach will take. Every book distributed is pushing Kali back. Yeah, yesterday I was hearing Mother Vindhyavali was saying, that we both were there at an event where 1,000 people were there, and hardly few people took the books, and that's okay. That's okay. Even if 20 people take, they have started their journey back home, back to Godhead. The other day a new person came to temple. Yeah, we also had a Catholic priest who came last Sunday, and then he came again day before yesterday. It was so wonderful to see him, and he was interested. He took the beads, and then he was reading Srila Prabhupada's books, the Bhagavad Gita and the Science of Self-Realization. Yeah. So prasadam distribution, chanting the holy names, book distribution, they are all very potent, and will slowly, just like it changed my heart, yeah, it will change the hearts of people, and people are accepting. Yeah, people are accepting. And Prabhupada gave this formula to fight this age of Kali. Yeah. So yes, disturbances are also there due to Kali, but if we keep ourselves pure and follow the regulative principles, then we will be okay. Yeah, we'll be okay. And the other important point I learned is, if I try to serve in the mood of the servant of the servant of the servant, then Kali, chances of Kali entering is less, rather than thinking I'm the master. If I think I'm the servant, in the mood of the servant of the servant of the servant. Yeah. So, and as I also pointed out, yes, Kali is powerful, but Krishna is more powerful, and he is ready to deliver all of us. He has come in this age in the form of the holy name. Yeah, in the form of holy name. And the other point I wanted to mention is how Prabhupada was not like how we see Parikshit Maharaj. As soon as he heard, he stood up and went, took his bow and arrow and went to fight. Prabhupada had such a busy schedule. I was reading, he was traveling so much, even though he was sick, and the devotees pleaded him to stay when he was not feeling well. And you know what Prabhupada used to say? You don't understand. I asked, and his response was, I asked Krishna for benediction to fight till the last breath, till my last breath, just like Arjuna did. Just like Arjuna did. I thought this was a very, very potent, very powerful statement, that like Parikshit Maharaj was fully protected. He was empowered by Krishna. Srila Prabhupada was. And, Parikshit Maharaj went to fight. Yes, if we follow, take the shelter of Guru and this Guru Parampara, this disciplic succession, and serve this movement in the mood of the servant of the servant of the servant, then we'll also be protected, and Krishna will and Guru will help us to play our insignificant part in fighting this Kali. Yeah, I'll stop here. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak. Please forgive me if I have stated anything incorrectly or misinterpreted or made any mistakes. I beg for forgiveness, and I request devotees to please add and share any comments you have. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Very nice and inspiring class. And the data you showed, Prabhu, like how much India is exporting meat and how much people were drinking, that's really so bad, like in the sense, people, especially in India, which the Punya Bhumi, people should not do that. It's a really eye-opener, and I do not know how it can be improved, but somehow or the other, hopefully, people will realize this ultimately, because this drinking, meat eating, they are degrading the whole human society. And that's why Parikshit Maharaj was so against it. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for
Anybody else has?
Haribol.
Yeah, go ahead, Mataji.
Yeah, it's very nice class, folks. Thank you very much. This is an eyes opening, there's so much sinful lives going on, especially, like you said, in India, in America, we cannot speak of it. There's so much killing of animal. People like every day they live on eating, mother cow. And, as Kali Yuga is growing up, we're just a handful of devotee. I'm just thinking, Prabhupada has the Shakti to do it. But, sometimes I thinking, what are we doing to help? I feel very guilty that we hardly do anything to help, human society, because we were part of ISKCON. We're supposed to help Srila Prabhupada. So what your thought about it?
Yes, Mataji, thank you for the wonderful question. So I heard in one lecture, once His Grace Anuttama Prabhu gave a lecture on this management or something related to that topic. And he mentioned 2 points. One is area of concern and area of influence. Yeah, I may have concern for the entire world. I may have compassion, but, and there is an area of influence. And it's my understanding that we just follow the instructions of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. And as I mentioned in this Guru Parampara, become an insignificant instrument, whether it is, if we are able to, first of all, talking up to myself to practice and have a strong sadhana for myself, and then try to distribute a book wherever there is an opportunity. Try to distribute prasadam. Prabhupada said you can eat your way back home to Godhead. So distribute prasadam. Yeah, wherever, if there is an opportunity anywhere, so we can try to do some Harinam. Wherever there's an opportunity, give the card of the temple and invite people to the temple. Yeah. So there's an area of influence. There may be people around us, our own family, our friends, our neighbors, within our this thing, whatever little bit we can do to be an insignificant instrument. Prabhupada said, please distribute these books. Please distribute my books. Please distribute prasadam. Please distribute, spread the holy name. So by following the instructions and by supporting the local temple in whatever way we can and assisting the authorities at the local temple and supporting the programs in whatever way we can, we play our insignificant part in fighting back these things. Yeah. So we cannot, we don't have the capacity or the power. I'm talking about myself to the whole world. Yeah. Not even whole world, not even the city of Philadelphia, not, I'm talking about myself. So one individual, one day at a time, whatever we can do. And most importantly, the temple authorities have are wonderfully laying out the path for Sunday feast events, so many programs, so many daily classes. So we join as much as possible and then share this knowledge with others. Share this knowledge with as many people. Is that okay? Maybe some other devotees, senior Vaishnavas can better answer this question.
You answered nicely, Prabhu. That's whatever little bit we can do, at least just try to do something, whatever to best to our ability, and always has a desire that how can I do more?
Which is good, which is very, very good. And that desire is what will keep us going. It's a great desire, so Krishna will help. And the other point is to strictly follow the Guru Parampara. Whatever we do, follow strictly without deviating from this Guru Parampara. I also just saw that Mother Sangeeta is on the call. Hare Krishna, Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Do you have any corrections, comments, Mataji?
Yeah, who is this speaking? Can I ask?
This is Prananath Das.
Oh, did you just ask me
table.
that? Okay. I was just wondering, do I have any comments about what in particular, about that last question, or how, because I thought your answer was really good. It was really complete. Okay. So I don't have anything to add to that. I thought, the person that asked, I didn't know who it was, could maybe carry some some mantra cards in her purse or wallet, and just give them out randomly. You're sitting and talking to somebody, or you meet somebody on the bus or train or whatever, and you give one out. You invite somebody to come to the Sunday feast and give them a plate, sit with them, introduce them to the mantra. It's really not difficult at all. And each soul, each person, each soul that comes in contact with the Maha Mantra, it's such a great, great thing. And it's a huge deal. One soul at a time. So don't underestimate what you could do, I think is the point. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
That's a good idea, Mataji. But one incident I can tell you, last time when we went to book distribution, there were 1,000 people in that place where we went. Almost 1,000 people, they came. And we were telling, I was giving the cards, and I was telling, this is the place we have the temple. Most of them, they don't know where the temple is. What is that?
Really?
I just told them, a lot of them, I told them that tomorrow is Sunday, please do come to the temple. Mm-hmm. Out of 1,000, I think, how many people I issued the cards, but one person showed up.
That's That's fine.
Because as soon as he entered the door, I was there. He said,
Yeah.
Mataji, I came here today. Oh, I was so happy. Out of 1,000, 1% at least came. But not many of them, they don't know where the temple is. That is a surprising thing.
That's sad. You know, but one soul, there's that one soul that Krishna arranged, you know. So that was wonderful. Think how many, Prabhupada said I shed 30 tons of blood for every devotee I made, especially Americans and Europeans. So 30 tons of blood for each devotee. Just imagine.
Yeah.
So one soul you brought out of 1,000. That was great seva.
But my unhappiness is 1,000 people. They don't know, most of them, where the temple is.
Yeah.
Of course, great. Distribution, we did a good job, and a lot of people, they came. And they were, whoever bought that, they were so much happy.
That's great.
Temple, knowing temple, not many of them know. So,
glories to your service. I think we have to end now, right, Prabhu? Is it time to end the class?
8:55, we should. Kalpesh Prabhu has shared another video. Yesterday he shared a video. We watched that. I can play it, but if you have to leave, you can leave. In my haste of copying and pasting, I put the wrong link. I will play the video, and we can end the call after that.
Okay.
Just one. Okay.
Go ahead, Prabhu.
I just wanted to ask if Dronacharya Prabhu had any comments or additions or corrections, or anyone else.
Thank you, Prabhu. Nothing. I thought it was a wonderful class. I appreciated it very much, and all the comments the devotees made.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. All glory to Srila Prabhupada.
See if you qualify, and if solar.
In India, these things are going on. The land of Bhagavad Gita, the land of Krishna. Nobody is serious to take to Krishna. They'll talk all nonsense, but will not take to Krishna. This is all. Nobody will take. They are not taking. Unless he is very serious about it. These principles are our Indian principles. No illicit sex, no meat eating, no intoxication, even up to smoking or chewing pan. But who is taking this? Now they are becoming expert in intoxication, drinking wine. India's principle. In Europe, America, they do that because there was no such philosophy. But India, nobody is interested. Everyone is doing all sorts of sinful activities. And Krishna says, Jesam tu antagatam papam. He can understand Krishna. Nobody is prepared to give up sinful activities. And how will understand Krishna? Krishna is not very easy to be understood. Manusanam sahasreshu kashchidadati. One who is siddha, perfect, jatadama visiddhyana. Out of many millions of siddhas, one can understand Krishna. Explained in Bhagavad Gita, but nobody cares for that. He reads in his own way and he has become a big authority. This is Ascendism. Only these few European and American boys, they have taken my words seriously. And therefore, with their help, Krishna consciousness is moving. Otherwise, very Indian. You are young man, if I say you come and join us, you won't do it. But they have done it. Yes, everyone has got a lot of responsibility, I know. But Krishna says, Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam. That is Krishna. It requires study. It requires education. The education is there. The books are there. The teachers are there. Unfortunately, you are not interested to take the spiritual education. Begging and begging. You are not interested in technology, how to help.
I think he made that point very clear, whatever it is we were discussing. Again, I think it's not a matter of Indian, European, American. We all need to understand our eternal position and continue to do our service. Again, Krishna says, the result is up to me. Our job is to keep pushing along, follow Srila Prabhupada's instruction. He said, spread the word, give my books. And that is what we will keep doing, and Krishna will take care of the result. Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyo cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Thank you.